Hi, I'm Olga Velichkina, and today I'm going to share with you the Russian team's work in progress on this project. The team consists of three people. Polina Proutskova is a computer scientist and performer of traditional music. Yulia Nikolaenko is trained as performer, and I myself an ethnomusicologist, and I'm doing a musicological analysis of recorded music material. The material which we are offered for this study is a peasant vocal polyphony. These are specially set up recording sessions and field trips. We are mostly dealing with female performers, quite old age, and recording are also archival and more recent. And we have in our set solo and polyphonic performances recorded in a special technique called multi-channel recording. Since the polyphony is going to be a great deal of our records, I explain quite quickly what is the style which we are interested in. Russian tradition is pretty much polyphonic, and there are different types, but we are bringing mostly the examples of developed heterophony, which is several singers singing basically almost the same line, but doing different versions of it simultaneously, with voice crossing, narrow ambitus, dissonant vertical, and blurry functional distinction between the voices. Here is an example of this recording. This is a general channel where all voices mix together. And here are separated channels of this record, starting from this of this soloist.
Ой, позаре, да позорюшки, да позаре, да повотерешне, ой, лёле, 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 лёля, лёле, да позоре, да повотерешне, да подруе повещёрне.
Etc. We found that Tony can pick up quite well the F0, which enables us to do the very close, very precise analysis of these records channel by channel. While working with Tony segmentation, I came up with several issues which I would like to present you on some examples. I divided two levels of issues. One is a level of syllabic segmentation, and in according with word content in a song, and this is mostly concerned with how to deal with inclusion or exclusion of a consonant into the note segment, the cases of extra vowel addition, different types of consonants, uncategorized pitch syllables, glissandos, and on the level of intrasyllabic division inside the melismatic kind of singing. The eternal question is how many notes, and then I would consider the changing of vowel content, which is not typical for Russian spoken language, but in some dialects and in music can have place. On the first picture, you see the picking up syllabic division, and here above is the automatic Tony segmentation, and on the downside is my manual segmentation. Some cases are quite obvious. For example, here in the blue circle, Tony doesn't pick up the note which has to be there and which is clearly heard. And here he doesn't pick up the syllable division. Let's hear.
Ой, позаре, да позорюшки.
And the red circles here signify my voluntary decision to take into account the beginning of each syllable with the consonant at the beginning inside as a note area, and Tony sort of excludes these gliding areas right here. Here is an example of extra syllable which is not linguistically present but present in note segmentation, because I feel it's important from a musical level. Here is the middle syllable, which is not existing in the word, and the last syllable here. Let's hear. And to understand better in details, here is the slower down version. Where we hear notes quite clearly, and intrasyllabic note division, how many notes inside of one syllable. In some cases, quite obviously, we can hear them, and I think that dynamic change here on this place helps us to really hear the note. While in the first case here, it's not quite well heard because of the context. 3 notes of the same length, we don't hear this as 2 different notes. Here is a long melisma going on, actually a cadence place before the last note that the singer is doing turnaround, a cadential formula, and in it it's sort of glissando but not quite a glissando, so we can hear as much as 8 notes for one syllable or as little as 4, because it depends on position which researcher can take, being extremely detailed and try to fix every small movement of a vocal curve, or being much less detailed but more synthetic and just marking the presence of up and down movement before the cadence. Here is 2 extreme examples, but the real solution is somewhere in between. Let's hear. The glissando cases, again, here I feel that I have to include the up movement and down movement in each note, because it makes a special pronunciation and gives a special character of this vocal tradition. And here's an example of uncategorized pitch in lament, which is using 2 different registers. One is operating with definite pitches here, and the second one is a low register, which has no definite pitches, but more importantly have a rhythm and timbre markers. Let's hear. Second stage of research, note pitch correction. Here is some general observation. Without this step, the resulting pitch correction sounds false, and I would say it doesn't make sense to the ear. Seems like a completely coincidental bunch of sounds. It's impossible to correct the notes without comparing them with the notes which are immediately preceding, and more enlarged context as well, the phrase of melodic cadence or up to the whole song. Sometimes listening to the whole song, we need to correct 1 or 2 pitches which are getting out of this context. The case of the same note repetition is the most obvious. Here already on a picture we can see that there's 2 repetitions of the same note, 4 repetitions, and this one is also 2 not repeated. But when we hear it on a computer sound, it strikes us as very inconsistent use of repeated note, while listening to the voice line, these words, we don't notice this inconsistency, and we basically tolerate it very well. In conclusions, high level of contextual consideration seems to be most important for doing even low level operation like segmentation, and the process seems to be circular, going up and down to high level and returning to the low level for segmentation. The high degree of ambiguity and context dependence is very noticeable, and therefore the task seems to be very difficult to formalize. Segmentation and mode definition are related, and probably in our head they're going in parallel. So when we're segmenting, we use as a reference the nodes which we are defined from segmenting the nodes. Thank you for your attention.